Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate it. Good day, HCS Avengers, and welcome to November. I'm honored for the opportunity to open our Lunch and Learn, planned specifically for our Human Capital Services personnel. As you know, we provide support for VBA employees throughout their entire career. We are there for their recruitment and onboarding. We assist with their benefits, their training and development, and provide support and HR services throughout their entire career until it is their time for retirement. Do you know what the most valuable asset is to an organization? Feel free to type in what your thoughts are on that. So, the most valuable asset to an organization is human capital. And it's not by accident that our human capital is included in the name of our organization. Human capital is defined as the skills, knowledge, and experience possessed by an individual or population viewed in terms of their value to an organization. Here at HCS, we are rich in human capital, you individually, and all of our employees collectively. I am a firm believer and advocate that we should be lifelong learners to continue our professional growth and increase technical competence. We have been given an opportunity to dedicate time to learn about specific strategies to assist you in meeting both your personal and professional goals. The learning event plan for today will help you master the skills to develop a valuable individual development plan, or we call an IDP. While not mandatory, having your own IDP is strongly recommended. I also encourage you to have frequent and candid conversations with your supervisor about your professional development desires, and in turn, be open and receptive to their input. I am very pleased to introduce our special speaker today, Ms. Moira Shaughnessy. Ms. Shaughnessy is a learning management officer from our very own Learning and Development Division. She is a role model and exemplifies a practicing lifelong learner. Ma'am, the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kleiber. Hello, Avengers. So glad to be with you all today, talking about career development strategies. So at first, I have to tell you that this training was called IDP development. And what folks told me was, I haven't done an IDP because it wasn't a requirement, to which I say, our supervisors don't require that we eat healthy, get exercise, and get enough sleep, but it's what we do to ensure that we're reaching our potential and taking good care of ourselves. The IDP is the way that we care and feed our careers. And we're going to talk a lot about IDPs today, but we're also going to talk about how to do IDPs, but we're also going to be talking about the value of IDPs today. We'll go over the science of goal setting, how to determine the specific skills you need to develop to move forward in your career, and what some strategies are for developing technical, fundamental, and leadership competencies. So typically when we have career goals or just goals in general, this is typically how people approach them. They say things like, this year I'm going to get healthy, save money, and communicate better. And what this might make you think of is a New Year's resolution. And studies show that by January 20th, most of us have abandoned our plans and our goals. And it's because New Year's resolutions don't work. And what studies show is we need something far more structured than a New Year's resolution. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So, I often ask folks, what comes first? A goal that you have or a wish, like the fact that you want to get healthy or the fact that it's 7 o'clock and you're tired and you don't feel like walking. What comes first, a deadline that you have at work or some training you hoped you'd be able to take for yourself. Usually what happens is, our requirements and our deadlines day to day, those are the things that take precedence. And when we have a vague wish for ourselves, it falls by the wayside because there's not enough structure around it. We need to turn our vague wishes into a goal. And here's what I mean by a goal. A lot of us, oh, here's some science to back up what we have on that. And some people say, I don't know. Is it true? I've had some luck with New Year's resolutions. You sure about this, Mara? And I can tell you that there is a study that's right out of Dominican University, Edwin Locke, Gary Lotham's work. And what they did is they had 250 people and they divided them into 4 groups. And they told this first group, or they asked them, have a goal in mind and just think about it. And then they checked with them later and they saw, did they follow through? Only 6 to 8% of them did. Now, the second group, they said, think of a goal that you have in mind, but also write it down. 25 to 30% of those people reached their goals. The third group, they said, write it down, but also share it with someone else. 55 to 60% of those in that group reached their goals. Now, the final group, 85% reach their goals. And those were the folks who, thought about their goal, they wrote it down, they shared it, and they had an accountability partner. 85% of those people met their goals. So to me, this is a model of how, if we want something for ourselves in our careers, this is what we do. We give it a lot of thought, we write it down, we share it with someone, and then we get some accountability around it. Basically, what we're talking about here is coming up with SMART goals, sharing those goals, getting accountability around it, getting help with it. Now, what I mean by a SMART goal is, we've all seen the acronym before, right? Like SMART means specific. It means we don't leave it at, I just want to move forward in my career. How do you want to move forward? What specifically are you looking for yourself, right? We got to get more specific, meaningful. Why is this goal important to you? So this, when we set career goals for ourselves, we really have to think of our why. We have to think of our values. This is what drives us when things get hard. A stands for action oriented, and I have found this is the most important piece. When we have a career goal or any goal for that matter, we have to be able to break it up into small baby steps that feel manageable. And we don't do that. What tends to happen is it feels overwhelming and we kind of, dive into whatever the small task of the day is. And we don't think more strategically about our careers because it feels really overwhelming. And that's why it's so important to have our goals be action-oriented, broken down into small bits. Has to be realistic as well, although I have to say I often find that people don't reach high enough, but they got to be challenging, but also realistic, and then timely. We want to put an end date to our goals. Someday does not cut it. If you find a path with no obstacles, it probably doesn't lead anywhere. So as long as we're thinking about what we want in our careers, we have to plan around the fact that there's going to be plenty of obstacles along the way and planning around them. Using our mentors and our supervisors and getting honest about the stuff that comes up and gets in the way along our career paths. So you might say, what does this all have to do with an IDP? And, when you look at it, this, IDPs were designed to align to what we know about the science of behavior change and how human beings develop themselves. With an IDP, it's set up so that you get really clear about what you want, very specific about where you want to be in 1 year, where you want to be in 2 to 3 years. An IDP requires you to get specific about that and write everything down It makes you break things up into smaller action steps. Yeah, writing it down, sharing it with a supervisor or a mentor. And then because you have to put a date on there, it makes it timely, right? There's an end date here. You're being held accountable. And this is according to what we know about how human beings develop themselves. This is what we need. We need something like an IDP to get us through this habit that we all have of just kind of like, you know, going task by task each day, doing the smaller stuff. IDPs help us become that much more strategic about where we want to be. So we're going to start right now talking about short-term and long-term goals. Now, I typically, when I do an IDP, I start with this piece of paper. It's SF4, SF Standard Form 4692. You can even Google this. And just because I like having a piece of paper I can sit down and write on, that just helps me wrap my head around everything. Now, we know that in the TMS, there's an electronic IDP. And that's great. It's just I have found myself that when I write things down and kind of create the map in my own head, I make better use of that electronic form. So this is where I start, and this is where we'll be starting today. So in terms of the short-term, long-term goals, here's some things you can think about when you're talking about that. Number one, you want to think about where you are in your career journey. Are you new? Like so many of us are in HCS. This is going to impact what you're going to put on your IDP. If you're brand new in your job, I can tell you, first thing you got to do is get those technical competencies addressed. You have to make sure you can do your job and do it well. You understand the expectations. You know what success looks like, what excellence looks like. And we talk a lot about that in HCS. You got to get clear on all that first. Now, if you've been in your job for a while and you have all the basics down, then you start thinking about, how do I become the go-to person for a particular piece of information in this organization? How do I set myself apart, head and shoulders above the rest? How do I really achieve that excellence? That's something you want to think about when you're thinking about your goals. If you have been here a while and you're kind of feeling like, geez, I really need a new influx of energy and enthusiasm, especially if you high performers out there, you're like, I can do this job in my sleep. It's not the time to go. It's the time to talk to your supervisor and say, I think I need to rethink my goals here because I want to stay in this organization. How do I continue to grow and challenge and motivate myself here in this amazing organization? So again, when you're thinking about your goals, these are some of the thoughts you want to start with. It's where exactly am I in my career? Another thing that I have found useful, and I hear is useful to others, is, and again, this is kind of like after you've already been established, is seeing what's out there. What are other people doing? What expertise do they have? Do I want that same expertise? Is that for me? So I always invite people to do things like, have I call them informational interviews. You see someone doing work that you find really fascinating. Sit down with them for an hour, buy them a cup of coffee and say, what you do sounds fascinating to me. Can you tell me how you got here? Can you tell me what a typical day looks like for someone in your position, right? And that kind of helps me figure out, is this a path for me? And that's what you want to think about, especially when you're thinking about those longer term goals on your IDP. Things like 360s, things like, the DISC, any kind of assessment you can take where you get really valuable information about what your strengths are or what some of your challenges are. What are some of those kind of, habits that you have that it might be time to work on or let go of? Those things can really help inform your development. the most important thing you can do when it comes to assessing where you need to go next, what you need to work on, is having a conversation with your supervisor. So, and I hear people say this to me quite a bit, like, Mara, my supervisor's pretty busy. Yeah, they really, really are, more than we can even begin to imagine, right? Our supervisors are busy and they're committed to your development. I can tell you it's part of being a leader is committing to the development of the people you lead. They want to hear about your goals. They want to hear, how you want to develop yourself. So if they seem especially busy, I would probably have a conversation, say, hey, I'd really love to discuss my IDP. Can I get on your calendar? And if they're busy that week, like in a couple of weeks, sometime this month, when you get the go ahead, schedule it in, schedule 30 to 60 minutes to talk about your development with your supervisor. They'll help you establish some of those goals. I remember having a conversation with my supervisor before VA and having my supervisor say, those are great goals, Mara, but we're going to be contracting that piece out. You need you need to rethink the goals. That was really useful to have. Our supervisors are so important when it comes to thinking about how to develop ourselves. Identify, yeah, I got a laugh from that one. That you can imagine how that felt to hear. Identify experiential opportunities or stretch assignments. So, and I'm going to be talking about this when we talk about activities. We don't just want to put expensive formal training that's going to take us away from the workplace on our IDPs. The best way to learn is by hands-on, right? So your supervisors can help you develop a stretch assignment. Say there's one particular thing you want to learn. That maybe there's not funding for expensive training outside. So you can say, what kind of on-the-job training can I take on? How is there a project I can do that'll help me learn these skills while I'm contributing to the team as well, right? Because that's something your supervisor is always thinking about. They'll help you identify those stretch assignments. They'll help you identify training that's out there. They've probably taken a lot of training themselves. And then they'll help you identify people who you can network with. You might be interested in something, and as a supervisor, they've probably been here longer, and they can say, "Oh yeah, I know somebody. Why don't you go have an info? Just have a cup of coffee with them. See what that is." They'll know people you can talk with. Your supervisors are invaluable here. But what if I'm not sure what to do? You might say. Here's the thing. Try one direction. And I can't tell you how many people they just get stuck in their careers. It's like, I'm not quite sure what to do, Mara. I'm like, take one step forward in one direction. And if it's not for you, you'll figure it out that much more quickly. Be brave, take a step forward. Is it too late for me to shift the focus of my career? No, I can't tell you how many people I've worked with, and they said, I kind of want to be a management analyst. I want to go into training. Maybe it's too late for me. It's not. But what you want to do is use your IDP. Say, I'll give you an example. I know a lot of people, again, want to go into training, and I'll say, work with your supervisor. Ask them, I want to work on my training skills. Is there anything I can teach the team? So, that's a great stretch assignment. Put it on your IDP. That way you can start getting more experience, if you want to shift the focus of your career, and you can contribute to your team while you're doing it, right? Um, yeah, it's, I often say this to folks, I feel like people don't link their IDPs with their resumes enough. If you want to, move into a new area, you need to get those skills on your resume. Think about the skills you want to be on your resume, and then reverse engineer it. Okay, these are the skills I want. How do I get those skills and get that experience I need to put on that resume? That's what's going to help you shift the focus of your career. Linking your resume to your IDP, absolutely essential. Before I go on, do you have any questions for me right now? Oh, thank you for putting the link to 4692. Kristen, I appreciate that. Okay. Jesse? All right, so we're back to the IDP, we're back to the form, and we're figuring out in box number 9, what's the skill? Like you already figured out your goals. Okay, I know where I want to be. How am I going to get there? You have to figure out what are the skills you're going to need to excel at to reach your goal. What are those skills? Now, what I tell my folks, I've been running leadership development programs here for a few days, is I say to folks, I want to see 3 different types of competencies on your IDP in that box number 9. I want to see skills related to the fundamental competencies that's right out of OPM. I want to see skills that are related to technical mastery of your job. And I want to see skills that are related to leadership development. Let's start with the fundamental competencies. Right out of OPM. Take a look at these, are right here on your screen. So these are things like interpersonal skills, writing skills. And if you get stuck in your career and you don't know why, like, geez, I don't know what's going on, I can't just seem to get ahead, chances are you might need work on some of these fundamental competencies. These are things that are hard for supervisors to talk about. So they, you know, you might not be fully aware of it. So I want you to keep this in mind. If you get stuck, come back to the fundamentals. Maybe it's something about interpersonal skills. Maybe you might be, I have some issues with communication and writing. It might be back to the basics, and every one of us in our careers always have to be developing these fundamental competencies, no matter where we are in the careers. If you want more information about this, you can Google OPM fundamental competencies, and this will come up. And this is something you can put in that box 9. Let me give you some examples. Improve public speaking skills, strengthen conflict management skills, strengthen ability to delegate. These are some areas, these are some examples of fundamental competencies you can put in that box number 9. Technical mastery. I think many of us here who are new to HCS, absolutely essential to work on technical skills related to our job. And fortunately, we have a phenomenal organization, the HR technical training team. And I know they're working on setting up a lot of guidance for you when it comes to your IDP and how you strengthen HR technical competencies. Now, we will be posting some resources for you, HR competency, general HR competencies and HR technical competencies. That's coming to you. It's just a brief description of technical competencies you can put on your IDP, and there's a lot more support coming for you very soon when it comes to working with your HR technical skills. Now, there's this book called High Performance Habits, and it was written by Brendan Burchard. And in it, he does all sorts of research in high performance, and truly great organizations have leaders, CEOs, even Olympic athletes he studied as well. And it turns out there are 6 habits they all have in common. It's a great book, totally recommend it. One of the habits he talks about is the importance of getting insanely good at key skills. I once heard this quote: "Get so, have your technical skills be so good that you can't be ignored," right? We got to work in our technical skills. So what are the critical skills? And by that, I mean like the critical skills of your job that you need to master to distinguish yourself in your organization. What are the technical skills you need to feel more confident? Right? These are the things you think about. You can think about when you're thinking about your technical skills. One thing I want to say is, one thing I would recommend is when you talk to your supervisor, be really specific. What do you think, given everything we have to, everything we're responsible for, what are the key technical skills you think I really need to work on this year? Very important. Yeah, go ahead, Jesse. Thank you. And again, feel free to type in any questions or comments you might have in the chat box. The third are developmental objectives. leadership development, and you might say, yeah, but Mara, I don't really want to be a leader, or that's not really for me right now. And each and every one of us in HCS, we are being called to be leaders in our organizations. And we all want to be, right? Like we are all the CEOs of our own lives. And when you look at what leadership competencies are in, as written by OPM, you can see these are competencies that regardless if we're a leader or not, these are competencies that we need. So yeah, again, leadership competencies, and I'll talk a little bit more about what those are, really important when we think about our career development strategies. Now, as soon as I mention leadership competencies, I know some of you were kind of thinking like, I don't know if leadership is for me a lot, right? And so often this depends on our personality styles, right? I teach DISC, and many of you, especially if you're at the symposium this year, you may have taken a DISC training. And what we know when we study personality styles is some are just naturally drawn to leadership. You know, these are, we call them high dominance, high deep personality styles, and they take to it immediately. It's just always what they have wanted for themselves. But there are others who make phenomenal leaders who just haven't really thought of themselves as leaders before, right? These are the folks, and they tend to be very insightful, and maybe they're a little bit on the introverted side, and that's okay. And maybe they're excellent team members. But they also have really great interpersonal skills. So they're technicians with really great interpersonal skills. People rely on them. People trust them. We want you to go into leadership. We do. And I know if you, especially if you're more on the introverted side, you may be thinking, I don't know if that's for me or not. I would love for you to think about it. You can Google this, the Audacity to Fail podcast, season 3, episode 1. I talk about this, and I did that podcast specifically because I wanted to encourage more people to go into leadership. So here's some questions you can ask yourself. Do you want to have a larger impact? You know, do you have strong interpersonal skills? Do you have a strong sense of service? Are you often acknowledged as a high performer or a go-to person? You can answer yes to most of those. Please consider leadership development. HCS has some phenomenal leadership development training, national level, including ELP, LEAD, LEAP. You can find all this on our SharePoint site. I'm going to put Jesse on the spot right now because he loves it when I do that. And maybe he can put the SharePoint site for learning and development into the chat box for us. I also want to encourage all you supervisors listening out there now, please ensure that you go to SMT or AMT, also run out of HCS, and you can find more information about these leadership. And that's not a, all supervisors need to go through SMT. It's not something you need to apply to. It's not a competitive program. It's just phenomenal training that's offered out of Baltimore. And you can find more information in our SharePoint site. And thank you, Eric, for posting our SharePoint site there. I appreciate it. So when we talk about leadership development skills to put on your IDP, this is what we're talking about. It's right out of OPM. OPM, these are called executive core qualifications, and most people say, well, I'm not going to be an executive. What does this have to do with me? A lot. OPM says at all, whether or not we're leaders right now, we should all be working on these executive core qualifications, and you can see what they are. And when you look at things like creativity, innovation, accountability, customer service, influencing, negotiating, political savvy, partnering. This is what we need to be, all of us, to just be high performers in this organization. It's worth looking at this on OPM. You can you can Google OPM ECQs, get a full description of what these things mean. So that you can begin to intentionally strengthen these right away. These are things you want to put on your IDP. And you can see there what OPM says. See those fundamental competencies down there we just talked about. OPM wants us all to work on those first things. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so OPM ECQs. Thank you so much for adding that, ma'am. All right. So what we've done so far is we've looked at our goals, short-term, long-term, and we listed, okay, now that I have these goals, what are the skills I need to develop to get to these positions, right? Or get to the place I want to be. And we said, okay, if you're going to, what the skills should somehow be related to fundamental competencies, technical mastery, and that's the stuff you're learning out of HRTT, and leadership competencies, right? That's what goes into box number 9. Now we're at a place where you think, okay, great, I know what skills I'm going to develop, but guess what? We don't have a lot of money for training. What am I going to do? There's lots of things you can do. Okay, so right now we're thinking about how are you going to develop those skills? This is in that box number 10. So I know when I first came into the federal government, I just thought training was just, the expensive thing. You went away for a week and learned a thing, right? And came back. I've rarely worked in places that had huge, you know, uh, budgets for that. And what I learned being in training all these years is there's so many different types of activities we can do to develop ourselves. And if nothing else, I want you coming out of this training today realizing like, there's so many other things I can do rather than the TMS courses or the LinkedIn courses, which are great, don't get me wrong, but there is so much more. Personally, I'm very drawn to on-the-job training. And that, especially when it comes to stretch assignments, and we talked about that before, I'm trying to learn a new skill. Who can I go study with? What's an assignment I can take on? I'm not really quite sure how to master that assignment, but I'm using it as a learning opportunity. That's the best kind of on-the-job training you can get. Now, details, rotations, I know often we don't have access to that, or our supervisors say, not a great time for that. Please know, and I hear this all the time, they won't let me go. We have to do a lot of planning here, and sometimes it's just not possible to do those things given all that we have on our plates. But there's other things you can do, those special assignments, okay? Now, also learning from the experts. Huge. Finding a mentor, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Shadowing assignment. Now, we do a lot of shadowing assignments uh, in our leadership development programs, and what those look like is anything, anywhere from an hour, 2 hours to 2 days. And that's when you put it on your IDP and you say, I want to go shadow this expert in this area. See what a day in the life, see what a morning is like, see, well, what kind of meetings, what's the hardest part of your job? You do this thing that I want to get good at. Can I just kind of watch and see how that goes? Put that on your IDP, talk to your supervisor, make sure that's something, and your supervisor may even know who you go to shadow. And you can say, this is the skill I want to develop. I want to do some shadowing. Do you know anybody? And then the two of you can work out how long that shadowing assignment is, 1 hour, 3 hours, a little bit more. So valuable. Networking is huge. And fortunately, we often have access to that beautiful, wonderful symposium once a year. And I hate seeing teams stick together and they don't meet anybody else. Networking is essential for a career. I can't say that enough. I could spend an hour talking about that. Um, and I always know the high performers because they reach out, and I see them doing this quite a bit, and I learn from them. And they'll say, hey, Mara, I see you doing this thing. I don't have that skill right now. I want to learn more about it. Do you want to have coffee? Like a networking kind of coffee. And we share resources and share names of people who know. Networking is huge when it comes to career development. It's a great strategy. You can even put that on your IDP. I want to do more networking. Maybe you want to go to there's somebody doing something at another HRC. Like, I'm always seeing their name. I think they're really interesting. I like to get to know them, put it on your IDP, get it approved by your supervisor, and they may even be able to make that introduction for you. Reading lists. I mean, how many of us have like articles or books on our nightstand we wish we could get to? Putting it on your IDP, you start to become accountable for doing that, right? distance learning, and again, putting formal training that you want to take on these things. That's all that's great. The TMS courses, the formal training. I know Shoreham has training. There's stuff out there. Again, use it sparingly. I once heard that not more than 20% on our IDP should be formal training, and I believe that to be true. Volunteer work. I remember when I was learning how to become an instructor, I talked to my supervisor and said, I know I can't go away for a month to become an instructor. So there's a volunteer opportunity at this community center to do like 6 weeks of instruction. I like to do that, but that requires me to leave a half hour early on Tuesdays. And I put that on my IDP, and she's like, absolutely. Hey, like you're learning skills for free? Yeah, absolutely. You can do that. What are some questions you might have on types of activities that you can put on your IDP? Oh, I see some great, and I don't have my glasses with me right now. The HR, oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Kristen, Ms. Fries, for sharing those resources. HRTT SharePoint site that offers an archive of previous trainings recorded. Fantastic. Search the TMS. I love it. And more good stuff coming out of HRTT in the future. So fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, ma'am. Okay, I don't see any other questions, so I'm gonna move on then. So how to ask for a mentor, and I mentioned mentoring, and in the leadership development programs that we offer here, folks tell me that the mentoring aspect of it was one of the best things they could have done with their careers. And I've seen it time and time again. How do you get a mentor, though, if you're not in one of our leadership development programs? You ask for one. You put it on your IDP. I want to go find a mentor sometime this year. So here's something that has worked well that I've seen. Number one, identify somebody with a job you like and a style that you admire, even if it's different than your own. You might find somebody who has a different personality style than yours, and maybe they have skills and they have a way about them that, and you think, yeah, you know what, I could do. I need to be more like that. You can ask them to be a mentor. So what I would do is I would request probably no more than 2 hours a month. And I would say, I wouldn't like kind of corner them on the elevator or anything. I would say, hey, can I get on your calendar, and or invite, have a virtual coffee or something like that. And then say, these are things, and be clear about it. These are things, strengths I've seen in you. I'd like to develop those myself. In fact, here are 3 things I'm trying to develop. Would you be willing to meet with me for a couple hours a month? Share your developmental objectives and strengths, and also like put a time limit on it so they don't think they're going to be your mentor for the rest of your life. Like you say, hey, can I, for the next 5 or 6 months, can we meet twice a month? And I think there's a lot I could learn from you. I've seen mentoring change lives, and I hope you consider that. Why shouldn't formal training make up more than 20% of the IDP? What is the rationale? So I can tell you that when it comes to behavior change and learning new skills, practice gets people where they need to be more quickly, and it tends to stick when you do the hands-on stuff and you do it over a long period of time. uh, it has a greater impact. So often what we get from formal training is we're away from the office for 1 or 2 days, and then we come back and it's kind of like a whirlwind, and we're right back to the way things used to be. And those new behaviors that we learned during that formal training, they don't stick. So what studies have shown us is often what is helpful is some kind of on-the-job training. We learn a new skill, we get somebody to give us feedback on it, and we practice it over a longer period of time. That's the rationale for that. But again, I'm a trainer. I love formal training, but the reason why I keep harping on this is normally when people want to work on their IDPs, that is the only thing they have in mind. And they think, well, if I don't have time for formal training, I'm not doing an IDP. That's why I'm coming back to this again and again and again. Most people associate formal training with IDPs, and it's important, but there's more. Here's some examples of developmental opportunities you can put on your IDP. I know a lot of folks, we're in the federal government. We need project management skills, right? And VAAA.gov, that's an organization here. I'll just throw that out there. They give free project management training, and it's excellent. You can look that up if you've already taken that training, or even if you're just curious about project management. I haven't done it before. I've been a specialist. I think I want to move more towards managing projects. Maybe you put that on your IDP. There's a project that's going on. I want to develop a project plan. That's how I'm going to learn about how to develop a project plan. I'm actually going to do it, and someone's going to coach me in what I'm doing right and what I'm doing right and what do I need to improve. Researching and interpreting new policy, new regs, new policy, and that stuff is coming out all the time. And, sometimes you hear it all the time and you feel like, I always have to ask so-and-so who knows more about this than I do. Maybe it's time to become the expert on that yourself. You can put it on your IDP. We have the PACT Act coming out, and maybe if there's, you need to know more about it, put it on your IDP. You're going to learn more about PACT Act, and then maybe you'll do a lunch and learn with your team about what you learned. Teaching something is the best way to learn it, right? So you go and you study the new thing, you develop a lunch and learn, which can be like a few bullets that you put in just to, uh, to help you train your colleagues. Have it be an informal lunch and learn. You're practicing public speaking skills, right? When you do that. And you're getting experience that you can put on your resume as well. So develop a project plan. Research and interpret new policy. That's what I meant by that. Develop and implement a new SOP. Maybe something needs to be streamlined. You need to, or geez, we have new SOPs all the time here. It's a great way to distinguish yourself. Volunteer. I know we do this thing. I want to streamline it. I want to make it into a more formal SOP. Put that on your IDP. Tell your supervisor, is this something I can do? Do we need an SOP for something like that? It's great experience to have. It's a great learning opportunity. That's another example of it. So what I'm doing right now is I'm giving you examples of developmental activities that you could put on your IDP. Find a mentor. Become a mentor. There are mentoring opportunities opening up in our national level leadership programs right now, or maybe just within your team. You talk to your supervisor. Hey, we got a lot of new people here. I'd love to mentor one. Not 5 hours a day, but twice a month. I'll take that on. And then you have that. You can, again, we're linking the IDP to the resume, right? You can put on your resume, served as a mentor here in HCS. Shadow an expert. We talked about the value of that. Reverse shadowing is when, say you are on a, you're a leader taking on, a team that does tasks that you normally have not done yourself. You're not a subject matter expert, yet you are charged with leading a team of subject matter experts on something that you're not a SME for. Reverse shadowing is when you say, hey, can I hang out with you for a day, shadow you, see what the life of an expert looks like? Can I shadow you? You can do that. It's great for, new leaders especially. That's called reverse shadowing. Streamlining a process. You can put that on your IDP. Do a one-day shadowing assignment. Conduct an informational interview. These are all really valuable activities you can put on your IDP. Any questions about those? Okay, so you might be thinking, none of those fit, Mara. What am I going to do for activities? There's this, I'll direct you to this resource. It's called Effective Learning Interventions for Developing ECQs. Again, what is in this, and you can Google it. Google OPM, Effective Learning Interventions for Developing ECQs. The reason I'm not passing it out, it's like 100 pages. I just glanced through there and I found some really great activities I could take on, even though I'm not a supervisor and I don't plan on being um, uh, an executive. Still great learning activities, developmental assignments in that document. I recommend you take a look at it if you're still not sure on activities. Okay, now the final part of the IDP, the date completed. Again, someday doesn't cut it. We want to be, the T in SMART goals has to do with timely. We want to put that down. And what that does is it makes us accountable. I remember once I worked, early on in my career, I worked with a coach and I worked on goals that I had been working on for years. Okay, now the final part of the IDP, the date completed. Again, someday doesn't cut it. We want to be, the T in SMART goals has to do with timely. We want to put that down. And what that does is it makes us accountable. I remember once I worked, early on in my career, I worked with a coach and I worked on goals that I had been working on for years. Like it was around getting a new job. I wanted to lose weight. I wanted my finances to improve. And I had had those goals forever. And it wasn't until I worked with a coach and became really clear about, okay, Mara, you're going to do this activity by this date. There was something about having that end date in mind. And she held me accountable for it. So helpful. So yeah, we need to put a date on there. And when it comes to putting a cost on there, you only want to have one thing on there that's going to cost a thing, right? We have to be very careful with our money. And we already talked about the value of some of on-the-job training. So that's what I mean by that. All right. So this is what we've talked about today. One day I want to do a thing is not good enough. You want to turn your wishes into goals, specifically into SMART goals. You want to identify some of those derailers and obstacles that are likely to come up and then get some help, work around them. The IDP is a way, it's a perfect vehicle. When we learn about the science of behavior change and developing skills, the IDP fits perfectly in that. It's a great way to turn wishes into actionable goals. We talked about the value of fundamental competencies, technical competencies, and leadership competencies. And you want to do mainly stretch assignments. And again, work with your supervisor to come up with those. And that's basically what we talked about today. Any questions for me? No? Well, again, you are the CEO of your own career. So what is it you want to create? I hope you ask yourself that question. Great. So this is the QR code you use if you have a government phone. Okay, it's not going to work on your personal phone, unfortunately, but we're going to give you the link. And we ask you humbly, we all work in HCS. We know how important evaluations are. So please, it's very quick, easy survey. Please take that survey for us. We'd really appreciate it. Okay, so again, my name is Moira Shaughnessy. I'm on LinkedIn. I love connecting with people on LinkedIn. I love talking about career development. And if you have any questions for me, there's my email address. And it's been such a pleasure to hang out with my fellow HCS Avengers today. And I wish you all well with your IDPs.